Hi, this is Pastor Rachel McIver-Morey at Northfield United Methodist Church, and this is the introductory video for the book of Proverbs for those doing the project of reading through the Bible in a year. The book of Proverbs is part of what we refer to as the wisdom literature of the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament. And what we mean by that is it doesn't fit any other category. So other books in the wisdom canon include the Psalms, include the Song of Solomon, include Job. And so you can see that these books all sort of don't fit the history or the prophets or the Torah. They're sort of it's useful, but we don't really have a category for it sort of stuff. So that's one of the hallmarks of what we refer to as wisdom literature. The other hallmark is that it tends to be more general and universalist in themes. Whereas the first 5 books of the Old Testament, the Torah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, are very specifically the stories of a particular people. And then following that is sort of the ongoing saga of that people as they establish themselves as a political entity. The wisdom books tend to have more general usage and use more general language and more universalist themes. So, for example, the book of Proverbs, it's a list of aphorisms. It's sort of the bumper stickers of the Bible. If you do this, then this will happen. If you don't do this, then this will happen. Blessed are those who do such and such, and cursed are those who do such and such. And if you don't work, you shouldn't expect to eat, that sort of thing. That's the vibe that you get from the book of Proverbs. So there's 2 pieces of the book of Proverbs I'd like to draw your attention to. One is the opening chapters where you have a personification of wisdom referred to as Lady Wisdom. In Greek, we refer to it as Sophia. And that's often a sort of shorthand in biblical studies for this figure and this character. And pay attention to how the writer regards this personification of wisdom and what role she, because it's very much a feminine character, plays in the acquisition and practice of wisdom. And the second character that you find in the book, because it's not really a storybook, so finding characters is interesting in itself, is at the very end you find a chapter which really details the ideal woman, particularly in a framework of marriage of that time and place and context and culture. So pay attention to these feminine characterizations that we find in the book of Proverbs. What do we learn from that? The book of Proverbs is also often associated with King Solomon. We don't have any evidence for, against, or any other way for the connection that the book may have had to him. He was regarded as a wise king, and so there were many things that were sort of associated with him that are in the wisdom literature genre. But by and large, these collected sayings really came together and became part of the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament canon because they were seen as generally universally true for all people, all time, all places, which makes it distinct within the Old Testament, which is so much typically around a particular people, the people of Israel. You don't find that same sort of specificity with the book of Proverbs. As with all books, and as you're reading, we invite you to 3 questions. The first is, where is God in what you are reading? The second is, what thoughts, ideas, or concepts or language are challenging to me and why? And then the last one is, what's going on in the world around me or in my own life that connects with the book in question? Thanks and happy reading.